Geometry checkpoint 4, finding the areas and perimeters of complex shapes. Area is the number of equation units in a flat region. The formulas to calculate the area of several kinds of polygons are, for a rectangle and a parallelogram, area equals base times height. And remember, on a parallelogram, the height makes a right angle with the base. For a trapezoid, it's 1/2 times the quantity, base 1 plus base 2 times the height. And for a triangle, 1/2 base times height. And again, for all of these figures, the base and the heights are perpendicular. You should already have these written on your area toolkit, which I hope you already have out so you can reference it as we're working through some examples. Perimeter is the distance around a figure on a flat surface. To calculate the perimeter of a polygon, add together the length of each side. For complex figures, divide the figure into more recognizable parts. Then find the sum of the area of the parts. For perimeter, be sure that the sum only includes the edges on the outside of the region. So example number 1, calculate the area and perimeter. So we're given a parallelogram for this one. So we're going to start off nice and easy. We'll find the perimeter. So again, your perimeter, you're just going to go around for the sides. And if you follow your pencil along the edge, that's how you can figure out which ones are your sides. So we've got 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6. Five plus 6 is 11, plus 5 is 16, plus 6 is 22. And of course, we don't want to forget our feet. Sorry, it's feet 9. Remember that perimeter is in units and area is in units squared. Now for the area of a parallelogram, we've got base times height. Now remember, your base and your height are perpendicular. A lot of students would use this 5 as their height, but you'll notice the 4 feet here is actually what makes the right angle. So my base is 6 feet. So I've got 6 times my height of 4. 6 times 4 gives me 24. And again, our units are in feet squared. And I know your teachers have already talked about that with you. So again, perimeter, we're adding up our sides. And area, we've got base times height. Let's try another one. All right, for 2, we're going to calculate the area for this triangle. So again, for perimeter, we're just going to go around our sides. So we've got 6 times 9 times 8, or 6 plus 9. All right. 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 6 is going to give me 23 centimeters. Now the area of a triangle, you probably look at it one of 2 ways. You've either got 1/2 times base times height, or you've got base times height divided by 2. It's the same way of writing, it's 2 different ways of writing the same equation. We've got 1/2 times base times height divided by 2. Remember, multiplying by 1/2, dividing by 2, it's the same thing. So remember, your base and your height are right angles. So my base is here is 6. So I've got 1/2 times 6. Now a lot of students would use 8 as their height because they'd say, well, you know, that's the one that touches the base. However, here's where my right angle is. So 7 is actually going to be my height. 1/2 of 6 is 3. And then 3 times 7 is going to give me an area of 21 centimeters squared. So again, perimeter, adding up our sides, area, multiplying 1/2 times base times height. Now the last example for this one is when we're looking at complex shapes. Hopefully you realize this isn't a trapezoid and you can't just use the trapezoid formulas. We actually have a rectangle here and then a triangle. So we're going to have to do some manipulating in order to find the area and the perimeter. So for example, before we find the perimeter, you hopefully realize we know 6, we know 6, we know 2, we know 5, and we know 9, which is the entire base. So we can go ahead and just add those up to find our perimeter. So I've got 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 5 plus 9. And I'm actually going to do this in 2 steps so I don't mess it up. 6 plus 6 is 12. 7 plus 9 is 16. So when you add those together, you're going to get 28, and we've got centimeters for this one. And I always like to put a P to remind myself of the difference between perimeter and area. Now for the area, we're going to have to split this up into two different ones. So first let's do the easy one, which is the rectangle. The area of a rectangle is going to be base times height. Your base, remember your base, your top and your bottom base are the same, so we've got a base of 6 and a height of 6. So we have 6 times 6, which gives me an area of 36 centimeters squared. One thing that I really like that students do is they'll write the area in here, so they remember that this one has an area of 36. Alright, so we're going to move that over there. Now for the triangle. Again, we're doing 1/2 base times height, but we don't know the base or the height. So we're going to have to figure them out. Now hopefully you remember this whole thing, 6 and 6 for both sides of the rectangle. So if this is 6, and this part here is 2, 6 minus 2 is going to give me a 4 right here. Now the other one shouldn't be too bad, because again we have this part here is 6. So if this whole length is 9, 9 minus 6 is going to give me 3. So I've got a base of 3 and a height of 4. Times 4 is 12, and half of that is going to be 6 centimeters squared. And just like last time, I'm going to write the 6 in here to make sure I don't forget it. But then the last step that a lot of students will forget, they'll find the area of the first one, they'll find the area of the second one, but then they'll forget to go back and add them together. So I'm going to write total area here, just to make sure we know which one is which. So now my total area is going to be the area of my triangle, which is 6, plus the area of my rectangle, which is 36. Now when you add those two together, you're going to get 42, and of course it's still going to be centimeters squared. Perfect. So again, you're going to want to break this up into the shapes that you recognize. So in this case, a square and a triangle. As always, if you have any questions, you're free to email me at mbrener@d131.org. Thank you.